I was grilling burgers when my HOA president knocked on my door and said, "We're pressing charges." I had literally just flipped my third patty when Harold Fleming appeared at my backyard gate with a clipboard, a camera, and an expression like I'd personally insulted his mother. "Charges for what?" I asked, genuinely confused. He thrust the clipboard toward me. Violation 4.2.1, unauthorized outdoor cooking apparatus. Violation 6.8.3, smoke emissions exceeding residential standards. And violation 9.1.5, operating a commercial food service without proper licensing. I stared at him. "Harold, I'm making lunch for myself on a Sunday." He snapped a photo of my grill. "That's exactly what someone running an illegal backyard restaurant would say." I looked down at my 3 burger patties and single hot dog. This was apparently a criminal enterprise now. "The fine is $850, Harold continued, plus a $200 processing fee. If you don't pay within 48 hours, we're involving the authorities." Behind him, I noticed Mrs. Delgado from next door peeking over the fence, looking deeply entertained. I'd lived in Maple Ridge Estates for 2 years. The HOA had always been strict. We all knew the stories. Someone got fined $50 for having the wrong shade of beige on their shutters. Another family received a warning because their lawn was measured at 3.2 inches instead of the mandated 3 inches. But this was my first direct encounter with Harold's particular brand of tyranny. "Harold, this grill was here when I bought the house. The previous owners used it for 15 years. He consulted his clipboard smugly. "The previous owners had a variance. You do not. Nobody told me I needed a variance to grill burgers. Ignorance of HOA bylaws is not an excuse." He photographed my patio furniture next. "Also, those chairs are forest green. Section 3.4 clearly states outdoor furniture must be earth tones. Forest green is nature adjacent, but not earth toned." I felt my eye twitch. "What exactly is the difference between forest green and earth tones?" He sighed like I was the dumbest person he'd ever encountered. "Earth tones are browns and tans. Forest green is vegetation. Vegetation grows from earth but is not earth itself." Incredible. Truly incredible. Word spread fast. By the time Harold finished documenting my alleged crimes, 6 neighbors had gathered in my driveway. Half of them looked sympathetic. The other half looked like they were enjoying watching someone else get heralded for once. "He's been on a rampage all month," whispered Doug from across the street. "Got me for having a basketball hoop 2 inches too close to the sidewalk." Mrs. Delgado shook her head. "He measured my flower bed with a ruler. Said my marigolds were encroaching on common space by 4 centimeters. "Common space?" I asked. "She means the sidewalk," Doug clarified, "which is public property, not even HOA jurisdiction." Harold overheard us and marched over. "I assure you, the HOA has jurisdiction over anything that impacts community aesthetics. And your marigolds, Mrs. Delgado, were aggressive." Mrs. Delgado muttered something in Spanish that I'm pretty sure wasn't complimentary. Harold pretended not to hear and turned back to me. 48 hours. Pay the fine or face legal consequences." He marched off with his clipboard tucked under his arm like a weapon. I spent that evening reading every single page of our HOA bylaws, all 84 pages, and what I found was fascinating. Bylaw 2.3.1 stated that all fines must be approved by a majority vote of the HOA board before being issued. Harold had never held a vote. Bylaw 5.6.2 required that homeowners receive written warning 30 days before any fine could be assessed. I'd received nothing until today. And bylaw 11.4.8, buried deep in the document, stated that the HOA president could be removed by a petition signed by 40% of residents if found to be enforcing rules selectively or without proper procedure. I started knocking on doors that night. Turns out Harold had been terrorizing the neighborhood for 3 years, issuing fines without votes, pocketing processing fees, and selectively enforcing rules against people he personally disliked. The basketball hoop guy, his fine was never approved. The marigold incident, no written warning was ever sent. Everyone had just paid because fighting Harold seemed impossible. Within 24 hours, I had signatures from 62% of the neighborhood. Doug helped me organize an emergency HOA meeting, which bylaw 12.1.3 allowed if requested by more than 50% of residents. Harold showed up looking confident, probably expecting to lecture us all about community standards. Instead, I presented the petition, the evidence of improper fines, and a financial audit request that revealed Harold had collected over $12,000 in processing fees that never appeared in HOA accounts. His face went from smug to pale to furious in about 10 seconds. "This is a coup," he sputtered. "This is democracy," Mrs. Delgado corrected. "You should try it sometime." The vote to remove him was unanimous. We also voted to abolish the position of HOA president entirely and replace it with a rotating committee. Harold tried to argue that we couldn't do that, but bylaw 14.2.6 said we absolutely could with a 2/3 majority. He stormed out threatening lawsuits that never materialized. The next weekend, we held a neighborhood barbecue in the common area. Everyone brought grills. Mrs. Delgado's marigolds served as table centerpieces, and Doug set up a basketball hoop right in the middle of the cul-de-sac. Harold drove past once, slowed down, and kept driving. My burgers were delicious.